My project was about people's attitudes toward mental illness and whether or not self-esteem would play a role in that, whether or not if lower self-esteem would cause you to have a different attitude towards mental illness. I found that self-esteem did not play as a significant factor in people's attitudes toward mental illness, but it did have a measurable difference where people with higher self-esteem had a much better attitude towards mental illness, or more favorable attitude towards mental illness. My most interesting finding was people who had a history of mental illness in their families or in themselves had a much more favorable attitude towards mental illness, which led me to believe that exposure to mental illness can cause people's attitudes to change. It's really let me see what happens outside the academic world, because our classes, we learn about what's been done, we don't really learn about what's being done. So it was really interesting to see what is actually happening right now in the world of psychology. I think that we were on par, if not better, than some of the bigger schools. We seemed more prepared, and I think we had some more significant findings than some of the other schools did.
Do you think that this is something Newman should try to do more of in the future?
Definitely. I think right now the classes just kind of skim the surface of psychology. This has been the best year of psychology that I've done doing this project. It's allowed me to actually do an entire project by myself, get into the research side of it, the experimental side of it, the statistics side of it. Everything that I've learned at Newman all came together in this one class, in this one project. I actually got told that there were two projects very similar to mine at the convention, but I was told that mine actually had significant findings and that I did a better job of finding out the differences between self-esteem and how it affected people's attitudes, and all the different demographics really played a huge role, and people seemed to really love it. I actually had 3 or 4 different people actively search out my project out there, saying they were trying to find mine. They saw it in the program, wanted to learn about what I found and all that stuff. Yeah, it made me feel like I can do this stuff, and it really made me feel prepared for graduate school. It made me feel that I can go do this again at any other school. I know what I'm doing now. I'm not going to be, okay, so how do I do a research project? I already know how to do it now. I know how to do the research. I know how to set up the experiment, how to run it, how to run the statistics. So I feel more prepared for graduate school, and I think that that's the best thing I've gotten out of this. I think Newman's been under the radar because we haven't had a program like this. There hasn't been an actual research program here. We have a couple classes that talk about how to do research, or what a research project is, but we don't really get to dive in, hands-on, do a project start to finish. It's been more, okay, this is what an introduction is. This is how you do that. This is what your methods is. This is how you do that. And then you learn about the different kinds of experiments there are, but you never actually run them yourself. So to actually find surveys or even run an entire actual experiment where people come in and complete different tasks was definitely an experience that I won't forget. And I feel that if Newman had a program like this continually and would go to these conferences, it would put Newman's psych department on the map. We started the project last semester. So we started in the fall, and we were told that it was going to be a year-long project, and it was going to be mostly volunteer. We were told we didn't have to do this. It was just optional. So we had 6 people originally really into this project. One person, unfortunately, had to drop out because of reasons with trouble doing the research and getting the tests that they needed. But 5 of us took it all the way, and starting out being told you're going to do this entire research project on your own, basically, with very little guidance, after not really ever doing a real research project, it was very scary. But through the experience, you gain that confidence, and you see, I can do this. This is what psychology is doing. This is what it means to be a psychologist. It really opened my eyes to the different world of psychology, and it was an experience I won't forget. It was intimidating going in, knowing that this was the first time Newman had ever gone to this conference. Such a big conference. Newman had gone to smaller conferences in the past, but never one this big. And it was intimidating knowing there was going to be so many people there, your poster's sitting there for 2 hours, and you're just standing there waiting for people to come by and drill you question after question and throwing all these things out like, well, why didn't you do this? Or why did you find this? Why didn't you find this? But once you actually get up there and you see everybody else's posters and you see that your poster and your findings are just as good, if not more meaningful than theirs, you start to get that confidence as people come up to you and they're asking you questions about it or telling you, like I had people telling me that my project was better than the other one they saw that was similar. And even if it was from a bigger college, knowing that made me more confident, and as I went on, it made me much more comfortable presenting. I really hope Newman continues this in the future and really takes into account all the students' futures for graduate school, because after applying to so many graduate schools and seeing how important research is to the graduate programs and knowing that Newman until this year didn't have any, I really felt behind. But now that I've seen that I'm on that same level and I can be on that same level if given the chance, I feel much more comfortable and ready.